This show is brought to you by HostBaby.com, web hosting for musicians.
It's episode 33 of Music Marketing Monday. This week, we're going to talk about street performing, also known as busking. That's right. How to do it, where to do it, how to make money from it. Sound good? Stay tuned. Here we go.
Information, inspiration, motivation for the modern musicpreneur.
Time to start your week right.
Here it comes. Music Marketing Monday with your host, Bob Baker,
Mr. Buzz Factor,
and Billy Gryzak.
The Music Marketing Mind.
Ready? Are you sure?
Set.
Here it comes. Swing, baby.
Cool. Excellent. Okay, here we go. Busk. A verb. Play music or otherwise perform for voluntary donations in the street or in subways. The word has its origin in Italian and Spanish and then merged with French to give us the word busk. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the words in Italian, Spanish, and French. But anyway, it comes from the mid-17th century, blah, 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 blah. Hi, I'm Billy Gryzak, the Music Marketing Mind, and over here listening to my stuff is
Bob Baker, Mr. Buzz Factor, and this is like your educational schoolhouse rock version of Music Marketing Monday.
Da-da-da, da-da-da. We're going to busk now. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Get tips now. Da-da-da, da-da-da. Give me money. Da-da-da-da-da-da. I'll be funny.
You just made that up on the spot, didn't you?
I did.
Wow, you are brilliant.
Thank you, man. Well, you don't record 12 CDs in 12 months without being a little something.
Off the cuff. That's cool.
Absolutely, man. So anyway, hey, Bob, how you doing? So a couple of weeks ago, you did your awesome event in St. Louis, and I'm just like still so excited for you. I never exactly asked you any specifics about it. How did it go? Do you have a lot of people, and did it go well for you?
Yeah, it did. And what Billy is talking about, if you're not sure, is this new workshop I did called 7 Steps to Building a Thriving Career in the Arts. And so it was actually geared for creative people of all kinds. And it was a small space, like in an art gallery type place. I wanted a really cool venue. And so I had told myself that, if I can get 20 people even to come, I'll be happy. And I ended up with like 22 or 23, which was cool. 3 of them actually came from Chicago, made the drive down as a group, and that was really cool. So a little shout out to Steve Pedersen, who actually played a little classical guitar prior to the workshop starting, and his friend David, and then Donzel also came. Yeah, the three of them came down, and that was really cool. If it was worth a road trip, man.
Hey, man, I was going to be there. My son was going to be there, but we had some gigging things come up, and we have to take care of that
absolutely
right away, because that's why we're here. That's why we're listening to these podcasts. And by the way, thank you so much for listening today. I just really want to thank you for taking the time to download or stream or whatever it is you're doing, to take time to listen to Bob and I. Thank you.
We do appreciate it. We don't take it for granted, because the time you have to invest. These days, to me, like I think I actually mentioned it in my workshop, that there people pay you in different ways, and so the obvious way is with money, but people also pay you with their attention and with their time. And these days, it's almost like it's just like you have to really work just to get people's attention, And so, yeah, if you're listening to this, that means you are paying attention, you're investing your time in this, and we don't take that lightly. So, yes. Thanks a lot, and we hope to deliver. We probably should get to the content, make it work.
No, man. I like the humor way more.
Yeah.
I mean, and for those of you that if this is your first time listening, and you're saying, "What is this crap?" Well, this is what we do. We laugh, we have fun, we giggle, and we actually do deliver some serious content. Hopefully, seriously funny while we're doing it too, because we don't want to bore you to death. So, busking. This is something really interesting. It almost seems like something new, like a new trend. I see people doing it all the time. But like I said, apparently it goes back to 17th century Europe, where basically performers, and we're not just talking music, we're talking dancers, poets, pretty much anything you can imagine. People would perform in public, on a street, in a park, wherever, and either pass the hat around or have a donation box or a guitar case or something that people can show their appreciation and support the performer with their money.
Yeah,
and it's awesome.
And I've even seen, and I'm sure this goes back centuries too. You can see jugglers, gymnasts. Probably I think actually Cirque du Soleil. I'm pretty sure that started as a street performing thing in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, and then expanded into the full shows that they do now. But yes,
isn't that amazing? Yeah, that's just incredible. They from the street corner to 7 or 8 shows in Vegas, baby.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so but we're going to be talking about street performing / busking for musicians. And this is something that you have had a lot of experience doing. In fact, I think just a couple of weeks ago, didn't you go down to the outside of a ball game or something? Or some event where you and your son went and set up and made, I forgot how much money you said you made in just a couple of hours.
Well, it's really funny. I'll go back a little bit before that. I don't know if I've told you this or not, but we do a lot of fair festivals and these things are called Thomas the Train events, which are like little festivals for Thomas the Tank Engine. And we'll do like anywhere between 3 to 6 shows, getting paid very well to do these shows. But then we have like big gaps in time, like half hour between shows. So for no reason at all, other than the fact that my son, who's my drummer, loves to jam and loves to play, he got these bongos. And he would just sit on the edge of the stage and just play the bongos, and people would just start coming up and putting money in our little jar. And their jar isn't even for tips; it's for self-service CDs. And then he said to me, "Dad, why don't we go do this like somewhere else and make some more money
for real?" Yeah,
for real. So we kind of put it on the back burner. But then a couple of weeks ago in Appleton, they had an event called Oktoberfest, which was weird because it was held in September. I can't figure that one out. And basically they had like 2 days where they blocked off the downtown, and they had like vendors and beer and musicians and giant concert stages. It was just crazy. And we just went down there on a whim, and we went down to a cafe that we regularly go to an open mic at, and actually do gigs there sometimes too. And we asked them if we could set up outside and just play. And they said, yeah, no problem. And we actually set up our PA out there. We just do it acoustic. And we went out there and for like 90 minutes, and we made $144 in 90 minutes. It was crazy. And not only that, but we passed out a lot of cards, signed up people for the mailing list, and got a couple of gigs from that. You know what I mean? And it's just from being seen in a highly public place of a lot of people that were ready to be entertained, that were ready to spend money, and so our plan now, being so close to the Green Bay Packers stadium, we were thinking about maybe finding a nice corner out there on game day, and just dressing up in green and gold for the Packers and play music with our guitar case open.
Yeah, I went to a ball game here in St. Louis. The Cardinals are currently, who knows by the time this airs, but the NCLS, whatever, NLCS, whatever. But yeah, they're doing great again. But I went to a ball game, and as we were leaving, this kid, I got a photo of him. Maybe I'll post it with the show. I don't know, but he was like 12 years old, and he had this battery powered amp out there and a guitar. And he was jamming, and he had like I don't know if it was a guitar case or just a jar. It was like filled with money. And he was doing pretty well for himself for a youngster, but so the street performing, I don't know if you want to, veer off on this topic, but, so, I talk a lot over the years about target marketing. You shouldn't be using the shotgun approach. You should be, figuring out who your fans are and, and aiming your efforts at the exact type of people who would be most likely to, be attracted to your music. And you can do that with street performing, especially if you set outside of an event that has a specific type of person attending it. Maybe you can, you can tell me where you sit on these, different examples that I'm throwing out here. But for the most part, a lot of street performers just go to places where there are a lot of people in general. Like I have a YouTube video with an interview I did with a guy named Terry Prince, who is street performing on the Santa Monica Pier, and he just sold a ton of CDs, and it was a really great inspirational.
Is that the piano player guy?
It is, yeah. And so, but his approach was just, I just want to go where there's a lot of people. And so this is one case where actually the shotgun approach, if you can set up in a place where there's a whole lot of people pass by, you're bound to hit those whatever 1 in 10 people that really resonate with what you're doing. It's almost a little bit more of a numbers game, I guess, than my normal advice for marketing, But what are your thoughts on that? Like, do you obviously at the Thomas the Train event, you're got a specific type of person, but do you ever set up outside of a particular type of event, or has most of your street performing been just a general crowd, and we hope that we'll just connect with a small percentage of them?
Yeah, I don't go anywhere where it's general. That's just not what I do.
Okay.
Everything that I do is always targeted. In fact, the first time we actually tried it for real was at Summerfest. And at Summerfest, they have like all the stages where all the big bands are playing. But what they also have is a lot of pathways and walkways and stuff where literally thousands of people that are there for music and to spend money are walking from stage to stage. And they allow street performers to, find little nooks and crannies along the walkway. And that was the first time we ever actually did it. Mm-hmm. And we actually made money. And it was like, that was crazy because we were already there getting paid to be there. And then we would go off down the road, in between a couple of stages, and we make a whole bunch more money because we were bored anyway. We didn't know what else to do with ourselves.
Now, an event like that, Summerfest, I mean, it's targeted in the fact that everybody's there to see live music, but aren't there a lot of different genres at Summerfest to where you're not targeting like only fans of a particular type of music?
No. Right? In fact, the next, we were between the sports event where they were doing like cheerleading kind of stuff and rap, and this Jamaican drummer and then like the folk stage, you know what I mean? And then we could hear the heavy metal band, like they were like, like a block away, but they were actually probably at the end of the fairgrounds, So I mean, no, but I mean, people just in general, it's a little bit of a shotgun in the sense that they're all music lovers there. But again, just being in that environment where they're open to something, is really cool.
Right.
I guess we haven't actually just tried it yet, although I will, like just going to a busy street or something like that, or a park or something like that. But I don't know why it wouldn't work, especially if you're entertaining. And that's something that I'd like to address as we go on. But before we get there, the most important thing that I'd like to talk about is if you're going to go busking, I think it's really important to do your research and not get arrested.
Right. Yeah. So, and I got pages up in front of me, the 4 different articles with that kind of best practices for busking, and that's one of them. Yeah, that almost all of them touch on is you got to know what the legalities are. Do you need a permit? What's allowed, what's not allowed, and so you just can't be random about it. I guess that's what you're talking about.
Right. And so some places actually you need to have a busking license or a street performer's license to be there. Other places are not regulated like that. Like in Wisconsin, it's mostly not regulated. The only real rule is you can't sell things. So, and that pretty much seems to be the rule everywhere, unless you have like a merchant's license and you have permission from the city and all that stuff. So generally speaking, if you do want to get your music out there, this is a perfect time to say things like, well, here's our CDs or here's our download cards. And we recommend a $5 donation.
So you can take donations, you just can't sell a physical good? Is that what?
Right.
Okay.
Donations are fine. Tips are fine, but you can't sell things. And so that's the most important thing you need to know. Almost everywhere, if you're going to sell something, you need some kind of license permit and all that kind of crap.
Right. Okay, cool.
But why don't you share some of the information that you've done with your research?
Yeah, well, let's as always, we always find good information on the. I got something on the DIY Musician, which is CD Baby's blog. There's also one on Echoes, which is disc makers, a related company. And actually, it's funny. This article on Disc Maker's site features a good friend of mine, Natalie Gelman, who used to live in New York. And used to busk all the time in the subways. And
wow!
And she actually ended up just by happenstance on the cover of the New York Times, the picture of her busking in the subways. There's another photo of her here. And she's, and talk about a shotgun approach. I mean, the subway, that's not really targeted. It's just people that aren't being taken a cab, but she's made a success out of it. And so basically, what it says here is, know what's legal. Some of the tips here are pack light. And so, it probably takes a little bit of practice, I would imagine, or doing it a few times to figure out what is easy, I guess a battery powered amp. Whether you're playing the guitar or the keyboard, but you need to try to pack as light as you can and have an easy setup and tear down. Has that been your experience too? Or?
Absolutely. We actually, because of the nature of what we do, my drummer, first of all, went and bought a cajon. So he's got one of those little boxes you bang on instead of taking the drum set places. And then I have an electric acoustic guitar, and we bought a what's actually called a street performer amplifier. Roland makes one, and there's some other really good ones like the Crate Limo, the Taxi. There's lots of different kind of battery power amps. They've gotten way better over the years, and they're kind of loud. And then we have a microphone, and we just kind of go for it. It's but yeah, it's really important, I think, to be able to carry whatever it is in one trip. So that includes your whether you're using your guitar case or some type of eye-catching donation cup or box or whatever. At the Thomas shows, actually I went to a yard sale and we found like this Thomas the Train lunch bucket, and I put that out front and I put some money in it, and then it's really great. All the kids try to steal it, then the moms have to bring it back, and then they feel guilty and they put some money in. So it's really cool.
Yeah, but that's actually a good point that some people know this, but just in case it's not obvious, you almost have to seed, like when you first start playing, there are no tips in there, but it actually helps to put some of your own money in there to demonstrate that, it's almost like that social proof, if nobody's putting, if it's empty, they might be more reluctant at first, but when they see, other people have been tipping them, I really should do my part,
Not only that, but this goes back to an old show that we did when we used to talk about, when we did that series on fairs and festivals. Mm-hmm. I think it's really important if you busk to try and bring about, 2 to 5 or 6 people to stand around and look like they're excited, maybe be putting money in there and whatnot. They're your friends. We watched this, back to Summerfest. My son and I were walking around and we saw these 2 guys playing from California. It was acoustic guitar and conga drums. And we just kind of stood there. And then this guy comes over and he goes, "These guys are really good, aren't they?" He goes, and I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Tell you what, man, let's stand right here in front of them and we'll kind of dance around a little bit and look like we're into it. And that'll draw attention to these guys. And that way they'll make more money because they're really good." And I'm like, sure, why not? And next thing you know, the 3 of us are standing there kind of tapping our feet, wiggling around. Next thing you know, there's like 25 people there. And so I think that, just like you have to seed the tipping receptacle, whether it's your guitar case or your fishbowl or whatever, you almost have to seed the audience a little bit to, because crowds draw crowds.
Right. But a lot of musicians will be traveling on their own where they don't have that built-in, the buddies system there. So I guess the trick is just to do something compelling to get people to stop and then have that happen organically. So I mentioned that Pookie, my girlfriend, and I have been running a choir for 6 years here in St. Louis. And there's this area actually in St. Louis that's probably the most prominent busking or street performing place. It's called the U City Loop on Delmar. It's a place where I think it's one of the few places in the city where you're not required. I think they just let anyone busk there without a permit or a license. I think, they passed that. And when we went down with our choir a few times here and there and set up actually by the Chuck Berry statue, which is a landmark on the Delmar Loop. And just we're playing like on a Saturday morning. So it's not even as crowded as it was on other times. But it was funny how some people would be walking along and they'd stop, for a little bit and watch us and throw $1 in and then continue on their way. And when you're close to this, when this one's like really like right up, close to the street. So actually I was really surprised by the responses from passing cars too. They're not putting money in the tip jar or stop, but it's amazing how you can affect people when they hear sound. Another thing, here, so in this one article, Natalie, my friend, talks about how she's a little different and that she does almost all originals, and she uses these things to promote and sell her CDs, which she has available there. But in other articles, I've seen the importance of, even if you do a lot of originals, to be sure, or they recommend throwing in covers and recognizable songs that will sort of get people's attention more. So you kind of bounce back and forth. If the only thing you have for sale is your original songs, you want to play those and then pitch those if you're allowed to sell things. But the cover songs can often, like this is a few months back, the song is like totally burned out in most people's brains now, but we started playing the Happy song by Pharrell Williams,
Oh, yeah.
when we were doing it. And it was noticeable, the attention that it got from both foot traffic and the cars who were like honking they would pay attention because they recognized it because it was so, everywhere on the radio. So what are your thoughts on the covers versus originals?
I think covers are vital. And if you are going to play originals, play something that's going to be interesting in some way to people, you know what I mean? So I think the story you tell about the original, bringing people into it, selling it as something interesting that they should pay attention to or dance to or whatever, give them some reason to stay and to listen and not be, oh, well, I don't know the song, I'm going to leave now. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing that we do, and I don't know how many other people do this, but I pull out all the stops when we go out and busk. Like, for instance, I do the cell phone thing. I say, all right, everybody, this next song, and I'll do it for originals, by the way. A lot of times, say, all right, man, we're gonna do a song right now. The song's about superheroes, and what we want you to do is everybody get out your cell phones and take pictures of us while we're doing this song, or better yet, jump around and look like you're a Superman or whatever, and take pictures and put it up on your Facebook page and use the hashtag, Big and Tall Band or whatever, or Mr. Billy. So, we get them to use their cell phones. And while they have their cell phones out, I ask them to text me and blah, 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 get their email addresses. But also we did a lot of gimmicks. Like at Summerfest, we brought a big crate of these, they're called Paper Jams guitars. They look like electric guitars, but they're real thin, made out of plastic for kids. And we were telling the adults to come over here for $1. You can hold one of our guitars and look like you're jamming with the band, and you can send everybody your picture saying, I jammed at Summerfest.
Oh, cool.
So that was one thing we did for $1. It was like hold the guitar and jam with the band. And then the biggie we did, and I'm going to keep this forever, when we did the busking at the Oktoberfest, what I did was I told everybody, hey, just tell us what songs you want to hear. And if you want to use Express Pay, you can write it down on something green. And the bigger the number on the green piece of paper, the quicker we'll play that request for you.
Yeah, they write on $1 bill or
right.
$20 bill or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, but my favorite thing we did was that, but for $5, I made this announcement probably about 12 times while we were there. For $5, you could come up here and stand next to us, and we will sing an improvised song about you while your friends videotape it.
Oh, cool.
And we got tons of those.
And we know from the top of the show that you can improvise on the spot, baby.
On the spot, man. So I would just say, what's your, it was kind of like, whose line is it anyway? I'd say, what's your name? What do you do for a living? Where do you live? What's your favorite color? Do you have a dog? And then I would just bam, and people were doing that left and right. I want you to sing this one about my girlfriend here, and it's like, what's her name? Susie, And so so having gimmicks, like if you're just, and I don't mean to say just a musician in the sense that you're just a musician, you have nothing to live for. No, like other types of performers, like jugglers or acrobats, fire eaters, whatever, they actually do a show, and it's designed to keep people there for a certain amount of time. And at the end of the show, they usually take the hat and they walk around, and so they'll perform for like 10 or 15 minutes. Then they'll collect all the money, then they'll go to a new location, or they'll wait 15 minutes and start again.
Right.
But a musician can be out there for an hour, 2 hours, as long as your voice holds out. but you have to have moments. Boy, I sound like Tom Jackson now.
You do.
You have to have moments where it's designed to make you money.
So we talked about the jugglers earlier, and one of these articles here that I'm looking at talks about how like a lot of times there's more acrobatic type of things in the street when they do the street performing. They'll actually get people to surround them where they're in the middle of a circle. Typically, a musician is playing like as if they're on a stage where they're facing the audience. The audience is on the sidewalk or whatever, and maybe their back is to a brick wall. But I think there's a lot of possibilities with the circle thing, especially if you have a crowd participation element, like if you do like a Bobby McFerrin type of thing where you get the audience to sing little parts, and then you're singing over the top of them. I think that could be really engaging with you in the middle. You get a circle of people around you, get them singing along, and then you're in the round. So I just wonder if there's a way to borrow that concept. But
well, actually, I did that once, and until you mentioned it, I didn't even think about it. Check this out: we were playing it at a expo, and the building where they were having the expo, there was a fire in the building.
Oh, wow.
And so they had to evacuate everybody. So we were playing right next to the back door. So we literally took the acoustic guitar, the battery amp we had, and some drum thing, I forget, tambourine or something. And we literally went out the back door and with two chairs and sat them in the middle and we entertained everybody, so that they wouldn't be upset or nervous or freaking out about the fire thingy. It wasn't a big fire. It was just like, some sparks and some smoke, but they had to evacuate the building. And then we turned that into a busking opportunity. And we were going around, people were giving us money and buying our CDs while we were singing in the middle of the circle. It was very cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, there's something really cool about the circle. Oh, by the way, too, another tool that buskers use. The first time I ever heard of the circle, I had asked some street performers about it because I didn't know a lot about it. And he says, yeah, you can make a lot of money. It just depends how big your circle is. And I'm like, what the hell is a circle, And what these guys do is they actually bring like a jump rope with them or some rope. And they'll actually, before they start, they'll actually create a circle on the ground. And it's kind of like that's where everybody's not supposed to step over the circle. That gives them their performing area.
Oh, wow.
So by putting that rope around them, they're creating basically a performing stage area that everybody, stands around, which is kind of interesting.
It's like a circus or something.
It is. It really is.
That's cool.
This is I actually had called on some of the folks from my Music Marketing Mind Facebook group earlier today to see if they had any thoughts on busking and before we recorded. And I guess Jeff McCulloch from Jumpstart 3 says that there's three things that are the most important when it comes to busking. And I bet you know what those three are. Do you know what they are?
I'm not. I'm all ears.
Okay. Location.
Location. Whoa,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
I see a pattern there. Yes.
Absolutely. And Russ Barber, who's a web designer who works with a lot of musicians from Ireland, I believe, says there's a fellow there named Daniel Doherty who busks all the time in Glasgow and has gained tons of fans from doing that. And also Jeff says that a lot of his friends go out and they make between, ready for this? One guy regularly busks at a grocery store, makes $80 a day. Hey,
Cool.
that's better than working at McDonald's.
Not bad, yeah.
Okay, and he says, and he has friends that play downtown Disney. Now, we talked about lots of people, right?
Mhm.
They play downtown Disney and make over $1,000 a day.
Wow.
Okay, so the quality of where you are, it has a lot to do with the kind of money that you are going to make, I'm checking out to see who else here.
That's why you have to experiment with it and move around and try different things, different times too. So it's not just a location, but when, and the weather plays a big part of it too. So there's
Jimmy Yamagashi, who's a regular on my group, says make sure you have the right permits and information and be as portable as possible, which is all the things that we talked about. Now, here's something really important. It says if you cannot pack and move your setup in 20 seconds, it's too elaborate.
Wow.
Okay.
That is quick.
Let's see. Vic Chestnut. I guess he's somebody famous. Homeless busking. That's interesting. I always try to tip buskers $5 or so because they make my day and a hell of a lot more enjoyable, and I greatly appreciate their efforts. Oh, and Jimmy also says drape a scarf or nice piece of cloth in your guitar case. So after people drop money in it, it's easy to move. Oh, that's really good. You gather it up in the scarf.
Scoop up the money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. I've seen a few guitars with messed up backs because the buskers had to throw the guitars in on top of the coins and stuff to move out in a hurry.
Oh, geez. Some of the little things from some of these articles I've got up is avoid being too loud. People gotta be able to hear you, but don't be annoying to businesses or around there. Respect other buskers in the area.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to muscle people out of the. I don't know. You guys got to be fair, and a lot about like acknowledging, like when people do put in those tips, eye contact, thanking them, looking at them, smiling at them, is really, really important. And so, yeah, we covered a lot of great stuff here.
So remember, this is just the kickoff today. This show is to get you excited, get that audio caffeine that we always talk about, so that later on today you can visit us on Twitter and you can use the hashtag MMMchat, and we can continue the conversation in real time with you. So that's at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today on Twitter. So at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time
every Monday.
That's today. So just our topic today is busking. So a little bit later on, we're going to be talking about busking today. And then if for some reason you miss the chat or you don't listen to the show, say on Tuesday or even Wednesday on Facebook at MMM Chat, we keep the same conversation topic going all week, and then we change it again on Monday. So, this isn't just a one-way street. It's just not us going blah, 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 blah. We want to interact. We want to talk with you. We want to find out what your best ideas are and what you heard about. And if anybody knows the best streets in Wisconsin, I'd like to know those. That'd be really great. So make sure you tell me. So anyway, yes. I guess we're done for today.
Well, I think we are. And if you're ever confused, you're trying to remember, well, what day do they have that live chat? Just remember the name of the podcast, Music Marketing. What is it?
Monday.
Yeah, it's not Thursday. It's not Wednesday. Yes. Just remember the letter M, 3 M's, Music Marketing Monday. So every Monday, 3 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, cool.
Fantastic. And let me see, is there anything else going on that we need to talk about? I don't know, but you can always reach me at Music Market Mind on Twitter and musicmarketingmind.com. And Bob, where do we find you?
My main home on the web for all my music marketing warehouse of blog posts and podcasts and video clips and books, courses, all that stuff is always at thebuzzfactor.com. So please visit me there and check out not only these podcasts, but a whole bunch of other stuff too.
Oh, wait, there's more.
There's more?
Yeah, I forgot, busking doesn't have to be limited to a street corner anymore either. And I don't necessarily think this is a part 2, but we'll call this value added. Okay, this is a PS moment here for you. But, there's actually online busking now, and we didn't even get into that. Whether you use a service like Concert Window or Ustream or
Stage It.
Yeah, I mean, Stage It. There are many, many ways to perform for tips and perform for donations. And I know for a fact that they're coming up with lots of different ways to like put tip jars and even something as simple as PayPal when you do a live event. And by the way, I did read one crazy thing. They said a lot of buskers are now using QR codes. Buskers are using QR codes because people aren't carrying money. So what they can do is they can take a picture of the QR code and transfer funds into this system made just for that. So that's something I always wondered about, is because less and less people are carrying money around, and you're just not going to throw your credit card into the guitar case and walk away.
And not everybody even knows what to do with QR codes, but those who do, that's kind of cool. You scan it, and it'll take you right to whatever page you designate for that code. Then people can pay pay you online if they want to. I don't know what percentage of people will do that,
I don't know, but I believe in leaving no stone unturned.
That's right.
So there you go. All right. Well, anyway, there was a little extra value added. I'm Billy Gryzak, the Music Marketing Mind, and
I'm Bob Baker, Mr. Buzz Factor. Thanks.
We'll be back
for listening
next week. Yeah,
we will. Have a great week. In the meantime, see you on Twitter.
See you on Twitter, 3:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Bye. See you later. So long.
I like to whisper too.
Are you still there? Excellent! Now would be a good time to visit hostbaby.com for your free 30-day trial, of course.
Check 1 2. You there?
Testing 1 2 3.
We are totally here, man. All right.
Ready?
So I'm hitting record right now.
I'm up,
and we can start whenever you're ready, man.
All right. We take a deep breath. One take wonder. Here we go. It's a
two-take wonder.
That's a half a syllable. It doesn't count.
Okay.